Afternoon.
All right. So I sent a very simple assignment yesterday, just for you guys to play around with data extensions. Uh, I, did you guys manage to try this out?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, Mir.
Yes.
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 So I just had one question, right? For the first one, the sending data extension, can anybody tell me which attribute had the key, the primary key?
Student ID.
Yes, student ID.
Student ID.
Student ID.
Student ID.
Okay, all right. So I'm not saying it's wrong, but it may also not be correct, right? So I'll tell you why. So whenever a marketer asks for segmentation, right? So they'll give you, like for in this case, it was the marketer saying, let's build a data extension which has the list of all the students and basically which books have been borrowed by the student. So, so I understand that some of you, or maybe all of you, have used student ID as the key. But you need to be very careful. If the marketer wants this like a repository, when I say repository, like a data extension which will always, store information on a daily, weekly, monthly basis on who is borrowing which book. So it's possible that the first one, student ID 12, it's possible that that person will definitely borrow some more books, right? So let's say today he's borrowed book E1, E2, and P1. Then let's say after 1 or 2 weeks, the same student borrows some more books from the library. His student ID obviously will not change because that's like his ID, right? Like your employee code doesn't change. So if you keep a primary key as student ID, what's going to happen is the moment you update the data extension, it's going to overwrite. Again, it depends on how you're importing the data. If you say add, then it's going to ignore that record for student number 12. If you say update or add an update, then it will overwrite book 1, book 2, book 3 with the latest set of books which he has borrowed. So I've given you this exercise simply because I wanted to explain this use case. You need to question your marketer if the marketer has not made it clear whether this is going to be like a repository of the latest data or whether he wants to also store historical values. So if I want to know how many books student ID number 12 has borrowed in the last 1 year, then it will be basically like a historical record. Then I cannot use student ID as a key because what I want is I want more rows in this data extension with student ID number 12, student ID number 13, because then I'll be able to figure out the total number of books the person has borrowed or what kind of interest the student has. Now, for example, student ID number 12 seems to be interested in English because out of the quota of 3 books, he's borrowed 2 books on English, 1 book on physics. If I look at historical data in the future, if I notice that this person is borrowing more and more English books, then I'll say, okay, this student seems to be very interested in English books, so I can send him marketing material with regards to the latest English books that are getting added to the library and things like that. So like that's why I said it's not wrong to put primary key as student ID, but it's always important to check with the marketing team what kind of data is going to be stored in this data extension. Am I clear?
Yes, Mir.
Yes.
Okay.
So here in that case, what would you set as the primary key?
If I want historical values to be stored, I will not set any key.
Okay.
Right? Because he's, the student obviously I can't keep student ID, because if I keep student ID, it'll keep, updating. Email address, again, if I keep that as a key, it'll again keep updating. And obviously book 1, book 2, book 3, I can't keep as a key. So it's not necessary to, so this is another example where it's not necessary that all your sending data extensions or even your non-sending data extension should always have a key. It's bases the use case which these data extensions are being built for. So if it's going to have historical values where the rows are going to get repeated, then I will not keep any key. If it's not going to have historical values, if it's going to have the latest values, then obviously I'll keep a key so that if there's a repeat, it will update the relevant row.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, Mohan?
Yeah. And one question I had, Mihir, was in yesterday's example, we assumed that when we were looking at the employee database, there could be a case where the email IDs could repeat, right? Now, in this case, assuming that student ID and the email ID will always be unique to the student ID, would it be
Correct.
okay to define both as keys? Assuming that we have to maintain a unique record, or I think even one would do, right?
One will be more than enough.
Okay.
One will be more than enough because student ID is unique and email address is also unique. Now, yesterday's example actually was like an incorrect example where obviously email addresses cannot repeat in an employee database. So, it was my bad. I've given a wrong example, but I just wanted to show that how it looks at the key.
Got it. And me, in my case, I had defined email also as a key along with student ID. But right now, when I'm trying to edit the attributes, it will not let me unselect the primary key.
Yeah. So like I mentioned yesterday, right? If you make a mistake in defining your data extension, and if you load data in it, in all probability, it's not going to allow you to update
Okay.
the data extension because there's data in it. So if you clear all your data, then you'll be able to do it. But other than that, definitely you can't touch the keys. If the keys are defined, you cannot change anything in the structure of the data extension.
Okay. And does book 4 play any role in this, Mihir? Because you did mention it on your in the instruction, but we
Yeah,
wanted to
so
cap the assignment to 3.
this was just a sample. So
Okay.
basically, this is your sending data extension, which will have at any given instance an option for the student to select any 3 books. It could be 1, 2, or 3. So ideally, when you're defining this data extension, book 1, book 2, book 3 can be set as null, as in, the person may not want all 3 books. Maybe the person is a slow reader. It's a library, right? So I believe a library will only allow you maybe for 10 days, 15 days, or maybe a month. If the guy is a slow reader, he'll be like, okay, you know what, I'll just borrow 1 book. It's going to take me a month to read it anyways. So it should allow null for book 2, book 3, and book 1. And then you have the other data extensions, which are non-sending data extensions for book 1, book 2, book 3. Sorry, for books, right? So basically there will be 4, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I've said book 1, 2, 3. Sorry, book 4 is a typo. My bad. Book
Okay.
4 is a typo. Ideally, it should be just 3 more non-sending data extensions. English will host all the English books which are in the collection. Maths will host all the maths books, and physics will host all the physics books in the collection. Yeah, Mohini, you had a question?
Yes. Mohini, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So me, we were talking about the primary keys, right? What about the relationship key here? It should be student ID, right?
The relationship should, if you're planning to send an email, I would put the relationship in email.
Okay, because when I was trying, it was not showing me all 3-4 attributes that I have created. It was only showing me the email ID, not the student ID in my drop-down list under the relationship.
Correct, correct. So normally what happens is there is this unique ID. And to be honest with you, Mohini, I'll have to hunt for it where it is. There's this unique ID. In Grab, I remember we used to call it UUID. What PayPal is going to use, I don't know yet. But this unique ID refers to the master list. So whatever people are getting emails, right? So you'll be sending a lot of emails to different types of customers. So whatever people are receiving emails, they're also getting stored in the master list. I'll show you the master list today. So they're getting stored in the master list. So you can, whenever you're referencing your data extension, you can either reference the email address because then you're trying to say that whatever email address is in the data extension, you need to use that email address to send out the email. Or you can refer to the other key. If it was Grab, it would have been called UUID. And what it does is it will not refer to the email address available in the data extension. It will refer to the UUID which is present in the master list, and whatever email address is linked to that UUID, it will use that email address. So again, this is as per the business what it is. If they say no, use email addresses which we are giving you and not which are getting stored in Salesforce Marketing Cloud master data master list, then you'll have to reference it to this email address which is there in the data extension. If they say no, refer to the global email address which is being stored in Salesforce Marketing Cloud, then PayPal will tell you that this UUID or whatever ID they want to call it, that is what is going to what you need to reference to. So what I can do is
And the
some campaigns are already gone live from the PayPal Salesforce instance. I can check what they're referring to. Are they referring to the email address in the data extension, or are they referring to the some kind of an ID? I can check that and I can get back to you guys tomorrow.
okay. And also I was looking for the export file so that I don't have to create multiple files for the non-sendable. So when I tried to export that, I received an email, but the attachment was not there. So what was the cause for that? So
So let me
I'm actually trying to share the screenshot here, but somehow I'm not able
Yeah,
to
so it
paste
says
it here.
it's been sent to your export directory on your FTP site.
Yes. Hmm. So
so
where is
I
that
will
basically?
There will be two options. One is a browser download and one is SFTP. So are you able to select the browser download option? So Mohini,
Mm,
right? Mohini is
yeah.
here. So uh, which data extension? Any? I can try any.
Any.
If I try this and I say records and I say export, so there are two options here. So if you keep it at the default option, it's going to go to FTP. When we do Automation Studio, I'll show you FTP because we'll be using that. But basically, just since we have taken up the topic of FTP, just to tell you, Marketing Cloud has its own SFTP instance as well. As everybody knows, SFTP is used to store data. It's a secured file storage. So normally, what happens is uh, whenever you are exporting data, it goes to the SFTP. And then only those people who have access to use the SFTP, like administrators or people who are doing data related stuff, they can access the SFTP and extract those files. Uh, in this case, you do have an option of browser download. So if you select this, it will download it. Like if I say export now, it will actually download it to the browser and you should be able to see the file.
Okay, I maybe not have selected that one. And my other query was, yeah. So do we have any functionality in SFMC to create the copy of the attributes? So that
Yeah,
here in the non-sendable, we had to create three different, same type of attributes for
we'll
the
be doing,
same D.
yeah,
So
we'll
can
do
we
it
do
today.
that and edit and save it later?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll do it today. I'll be showing you that. Okay, so Mohini, I'll answer your question shortly. I'll show you how to create a copy. Any other questions before we continue?
Yeah, Mihir, I have one question. Like,
Mhm.
just now you say if you want historical data in data extension, in that case, we are not supposed to apply any key, like primary key or any relation key. So in that case, while inserting the records, how we will prevent the duplicate data insertion?
That's a very good question. So when you talk about historical data, right? This library management system, for example, or if you're talking about in PayPal terms, a person's transaction records, right? So there is there's a possibility of duplication. Now, for example, this example over here, student 12 has taken, let's say on Monday, he's taken E1, E2, P1.
Right.
Then let's say on Friday, he took again E1, E2, P1, maybe because he didn't finish reading and he wanted to read again or something, or he likes those books, whatever. So ideally, what will happen is it will create a second record. Since there are no keys, it will create a second record with the same data.
Okay.
It'll definitely do that. Now, how to prevent duplication? Because yeah, this is pure duplication, but in this case, it is allowed because we want. I mean, if the person is borrowing the same books, then it's fine, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong in that. But then I understand it looks like a duplicate entry. There is one more set of fields which you can put. Basically, you can keep fields like, you know, updated date, updated time. Obviously, that will not be the same. That will obviously change. So updated date and time for the first row would be Monday's date and whatever time he borrowed the books. And then for the next row, wherever he borrows the same books again, the updated date and time again will change because it will be a Friday's date and whatever time he borrowed. So in that way, you can prevent duplication. Though the records will be the same, that's because I need it to be the same. I need to see what kind of books are being borrowed, and if the person is repeatedly borrowing the same books, it's okay. I'm allowing him to do it because only of this use case. It's a library, so I can borrow the same set of books multiple number of times as long as they're available to borrow. But if you want to ensure that you have complete control and you don't get confused that duplication happening, you'll have to put an updated date and time field as well.
Okay. Mihir, I have a related query actually. In the email that you have mentioned that at any given time, a student can borrow a maximum of 3 books. So in this case of duplication, there is a possibility that he might get, get another set of 3 books. So in that case, he might have 6 books at a time.
So this is just a sample, right? Ideally, if you're building a robust library management system, there will be other checks and balances in place. For example, if he borrows E1, E2, P1, then in this non-sending data extension, ideally I should have one more field which says whether the book is available to borrow or no. So that will be, one field. So if he borrows E1, then for this book, the flag for available for borrowing will be no, so that nobody else can borrow the same book because it's already gone. In the same way, when you're saying he could have 6 books, when he wants to borrow, I will first check in my sending data extension whether he's actually returned these books. So if he wants to borrow 1 book, I will check to see if he has 1, 2 or 3 books still available with him. Only if he has 1 or 2 books available with him, then I'll let him borrow a third one. If he has 3 books still with him, I will not let him borrow. So obviously you'll have to build the robust system with all the checks and balances in place so that people don't misuse the system. But obviously that is like an entire big project. This is just a sample. I just wanted you guys to practice data extensions. What I'm talking about can all be done using AMP scripting. You can create, like, when I teach you AMP scripting, if you want, we can revisit this. It will be a huge project, but basically you'll have to have some checks and balances to see how many books a person has when he wants to borrow. Has he returned the books? The books which he wants to borrow, are they available to be borrowed, or is it with somebody else? So you'll have to add all those conditional logic to ensure that it's a complete robust system which is not failing at any instance.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah. So in that case, same question, like in that case, if you are not assigning keys, like for say a student ID, in that case, we have to, while creating in data extension, we have to keep this thing as non-nullable, right? Otherwise, it will take null values as well.
No, you can keep it. You mean sendable and not sendable? Untick it, you're saying?
No, like tick that otherwise no user can insert the null value for student ID as well. No?
Like keep
See,
it required.
Yeah.
you can keep it. You have to keep it required. And again, see, now this is all system added right now. Nobody's going to manually do it. It'll be, if you're looking at it as an overall picture, it'll mostly be like an online form. So the student logs into his account, then he gets to see all the books which are available across these three non-sending data extensions. Then he selects his 3 books and then he submits it. So once that happens, you would have written some AMP script code which will update the sendable data extension. So basically it's not going to push null values, but yeah, it's a good check and balance to ensure that you add that as a required field so that the student ID is not null ever.
Okay. And correct me if I'm not wrong, my understanding, in sendable data extension, we must have customer details on which we are sending the communication, like email or mobile number.
Yes,
Okay.
you should.
Okay.
You should.
And in non-sendable, if it is not there, still it will be fine. It's non-sendable is basically used to get the data maintain activity, such kind. For this purpose, we are creating non-sendable data extension, right?
Correct. So non-sendable is more like you're using it as a reference table, or if you guys are from the data team, then sometimes you will build a temporary table. In the temporary table, you want to do some maybe experimentation or store data for some time and then delete it afterwards.
Yeah.
So non-sendable data extension can be used for all those purposes.
Okay. Thanks, Mihir.
Okay, so we did data extensions yesterday. We just did the basics. We created a data extension. Now, if you guys remember, we went to audience builder, contact builder. Oh, I'm already there, sorry. So then we saw this, and then I showed you how to create a data extension. Now, Mohini had a question on, if I have to make 3 data extensions and all of them have the same attributes, is there a faster way to build it rather than doing it manually? The answer is yes, there is. So let's see how to do that. Now I have this data extension which I created yesterday. Let's say that I want to create a clone of this data extension. So if you see here, this is import, this is delete. And then here, this small little arrow, there is export and there's copy. So if I click on copy, what it's going to do is it's going to help me create a copy of this data extension. The new data extension which will be created obviously will need to have a different name. It can't have the same name. The fields will be exactly the same. You can't make changes to the fields. And obviously the data will be deleted. So it will be like an empty shell, exactly matching your source. My source over here is this July_DE1. If I click on copy, it will by default add the word copy. You can change it if you want, or you can keep it as it depends on your business case, or your naming conventions, how they are. You cannot change the type. If the source or the initial one was sendable, it will be sendable. You can't say my copy should be non-sendable. You can't do that. Folder location can be changed, right? Obviously, I'm storing it in my folder for now, but if the copy is required to be put in some other folder, you can definitely change that. Just save it, and it's done. So I know all of you must have built manual data extensions yesterday, and it would have taken some time, but that's okay. That's good practice for everybody. But that's it. This is how you build a copy. If you see, it's exactly the same. It's got the same fields, all the values, default values, nullable, and everything is the same. Um, it is sendable. Your relationship is also the same. You can't change that. Records will be 0. Like I said, it will build a shell, but it will not copy the records.
Yeah. So Mihir, I
Only
observed that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
So Mihir, when we click on new extension, right? It also asks you if you want to create it from new, duplicate, clone one, or templatize it.
Yeah. So that's another way.
Yeah.
In fact, that's the same thing, right? You're mentioning this, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Only change I saw was when I'm doing this, I'm able to change it from is sendable to not is sendable.
Correct. Correct. So if you're doing it this way, you get some more options. You're correct. So if I do this, you can make the change.
Yeah.
This. And you can play around. So there are two things to it, right? The way I showed you, these are quick actions. So it'll allow you to build one super fast, the way I just showed you. But the drawback is you can't play around with it. You can just make a direct clone of whatever copy you want to make. But if you want to take this as your starting point, but you know that yes, it is my starting point, but I need to add some more rows to it or some more attributes to it, or there are some attributes which I don't need and I want to delete them, or I don't want it sendable. If you want something like that, then you can do it this method, the second one. By using this, you get those options which will allow you to play around, make those relevant changes before creating the clone. Obviously, it will not be a like-to-like match when you do it this method, because obviously this method is for allowing you to make changes. But yeah, that's the difference between the two options. Answers your question, Mohit?
Yes, Mir.
There is somebody called Misha who's raised.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to ask you, while creating from existing one, does it, yeah, from this one, does it do the same thing as quick actions, or we can have the records itself copied also?
Records will never get copied.
Okay.
The only difference between quick actions and create from existing is that create from existing will allow you to play around with the parameters, the attributes, sendable, non-sendable, things like that. Quick copy will not allow you to do that, but the records will not get copied over.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now, Salesforce being Salesforce, Marketing Cloud is one of those tools where you can access things from multiple locations. What do I mean by that? So you've been doing data extensions from here. Sorry, audience builder, contact builder, and then data extensions. But data extensions can also be accessed through your email studio. So I'm not going to show you emails yet, but let me show you the data extension part from you. So when you go to email studio, you will be able to access data extensions. However, there are some limitations. To be honest with you, up till now, I don't know why they're doing it this way. But yeah, you can access it from here. So it's gone. 1 second, I need to log out. Did you guys face any issues with Marketing Cloud? Like this is the second time today I've faced this issue where it just goes nuts.
Not me.
Yeah, I sometimes need to re-log in if I stop using it.
No, I'm asking this question is because this is a new instance we've got. I do have an older instance as well. So older instance didn't do all this. It was more stable. I don't know why this instance is acting up. Anyways, so
for refreshing the list, Mir, we are certainly going back. But
no,
huh,
that is it. I've noticed it. Production instances also for Grab, for PayPal, for Uber. I've seen that. Okay, so this is the email studio. Don't get confused. I'll be explaining all these screens, but I want you to look at subscribers. If you look at subscribers, there is data extensions here as well. So if you click here, you see the similar folder structure, which you saw earlier. You will see similar data extensions, which are outside on the root. And if you see here, there are data extensions which I had created over here. Actions are also there, but there are more over here. So that is a difference, a small difference here. Another difference is if I go to this one, for example. If I go to records, can anybody spot a difference here? Looks the same, I know, but there is a difference. If you guys worked on data extensions yesterday, then
this tracking tab is new in this.
Okay, okay. Tracking tab, fine.
Here you, okay.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, here you cannot directly add the records.
We have only one clear data option.
Or edit.
Good observation. Yeah.
Yeah, earlier it's there.
So if you're using data extensions from Email Studio, you can only clear all the data from the data extension, but there is no option to manually add data or even edit data. When you're doing it through Audience Builder, you can select the radio button here, the checkbox I think here, and you can modify your record manually as well. But over here, there is no such option. You can definitely import and export. That remains the same. That doesn't change. But you can't edit this data. I have no idea why. But that is how it is. Let's come back to data extensions. Now, I have created this data extension because I wanted more records. I'll just show you what it is. Very simple data extension. It has 99 records. It has some employee ID, it has location, and it has age. That's it. It's a non-sendable standard data extension, not used for sending. I don't intend to send out emails with this one. If you look at the records, it's some dummy data I've just added. Just some random employee IDs, some random locations, some random ages, just random stuff. Now, now I mentioned that there are some options over here. So let's look at those options. So import, everybody knows, so I'm not going to show that. Import is importing data to the data extension. You have filter. This is a new option. This was not there earlier. What is filter? So sometimes there could be a use case where you're given a data extension, which will have customer data or maybe some other data. But due to marketer requirement, you may not need to use the entire set of information which is in the data extension. For example, you have PayPal's master record of everybody from APJ, all customers from Asia Pacific. So that will include countries Singapore, China, Japan, Indonesia, Malaysia, all those countries. So they've given you that. But the marketer says, but my campaign is only for Singapore. So basically, the rest of the customers, you really don't need to target them. What you need to do, basically, there are multiple things you can do. The first thing what you can do is take the data extension, apply a filter, and remove everybody from the rest of the countries and only keep data of Singapore, because that will be my new sending data extension, which I will use to target for the email. That's one way to do it. Second way to do it is later on when I teach you Journey Builder, you can build a filter in Journey Builder itself. So then this step of filtering your data extension is not required. Journey Builder will do it for you. The third option is in Automation Studio, you can actually write an SQL query, which will do the same thing, right? So there are multiple ways to do it. It all depends on how you intend to run your campaign. So we'll see those use cases as we do Journey Builder Automation Studio. But for today, I'm going to show you how to do filters in data extensions. So what do I need to do is find the filter option, click on it. Now, since it's filter, obviously I need to give it a criteria. So the use case which I told you, the criteria would have been country ID or country code equal to SG, just Singapore. Now for this one, I have employee ID, location, and age. So let's filter and keep only people who are from Norway. Just giving you an example. So just it's drag and drop. Just take it here. Location ID, location is equal to Norway. I can add multiple filters if required. Let's say I want to put an age filter as well. I have my Boolean operators. This is and all those who, let's say, age is greater than 30. These are Boolean operators. And operator, for those who don't know, an and operator. When you use an and operator, then both these conditions need to be satisfied. Only if a record is satisfying both these conditions will that record be a part of the new filtered data extension. If I click on this, I can use the second operator, which is OR. So for those who don't know the OR operator, any one of these or both need to be satisfied. So if the record is satisfying country or the age, or even if it's satisfying both, then that record will be added to the new filtered data extension. So that's your operator. I can have more. It depends, right? I can have as many operators as I want, and I can do breakups like this. If you see this, I can depending on the logic which you want to add. So I can have an and an or. I can do that, right? So it will do or of this and then the entire thing and. So as complex as you want to build it, you can do it. Just be very careful when you're making it complex. You might end up making a mistake. For now,
How
I'm
did
just
you further split it? Sorry, could you show that again?
click on this box.
Okay.
It's not happening. 1 second, I'll show you. So I took it here and I see this is coming here. Just click on that.
Okay. And if it has to be between, let's say, location and employee ID, then can I drag drop the sequence?
Yeah, do that. So
okay.
For that, let's say
you have to add in sequence, I think so.
When the price of the commodity rises, the consumer. When the price of the commodity rises, the consumer.
Using location and employee ID, right? So then I can do this.
To buy more
And then I can do.
Tends to buy.
So drag and drop is not allowed, right, sir?
Drag and drop works, but I think it works from. Yeah, it works. You can do drag and. I was not selecting the right option, but yeah, you can do drag and.
Okay.
Yeah. So now let's just use location for now. So you have save and build. Vishaka, you have a question?
Yes, Mir. Can we add multiple location in this filter?
Oh, that's a good question. So you're saying multiple locations, right? Sure, like this.
Also,
and
we have an option and or.
Yeah, you can. You can do and or also.
Okay. Thank you.
You can change it. And you have these also. So you can use these as well. Okay, so this is do a save and build. It's going to ask you for the name of the data extension. So folder, you can suggest where it needs to go. I'm keeping it in this folder only for now. Now, when this happens, what it's going to create a new data extension. It will have the same properties as the source. So I told you that data extension was non-sendable, so it's not used for sending. The structure will be the same. It's not going to change the structure. The only thing what it will do is it will use the filtration criteria and it will push the records. So my initial data extension, if you remember, had 99 records. This one has 19. So basically 19 records are satisfying the condition. If you see, all the location is Norway. Now, if you go out, you will have a new data extension here. This is the one called filtered. This is the one I just created. But if you see the type now, the type yesterday when we did everything, it was always standard data extension. Over here, it's now being called a filtered data extension. Okay, now I have a trick question. Let's say I'm going to do it the other way. Go to audience builder. Let's say I did this, right? I am ready for my campaign. My colleague is building the email. I got my data extension fast, so I filtered it. I added my criteria. I have a filtered data extension for Norway. My data is ready. That's today. Now, let's say by tomorrow, a new row got added, and fortunately, that row also is for Norway. So I'm going to simulate that condition. So this is this one. So I'm going to simulate the condition of adding an additional row of location Norway. So I've added this. So now, can somebody tell me there's a new row which has been added to the master data extension, which is matching the filtration criteria? Will my filtered data extension automatically update itself or no?
No.
I guess yes.
Yeah. No, because
Yes.
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 Okay. All right. No, I didn't expect everybody to know the answer. I'm just curious. Okay. So the actual answer is no. Now, remember when we built the filter data extension and when we said, save or whatever option we click, it runs the query at that time. The filtration criteria is actually run at that time. Now, if I have, if the master data extension, which is this, for example, it's getting updated, it is not running the query, right? I didn't create any automation. Remember, automation is different. I have just created a criteria which filters the data extension. So I've not done it again. So ideally, it will not update. Over here, obviously, we'll go back here. But it basically will not automatically update. I had 19 records. If you're saying it's going to show now 20 records, it's not going to show 20 records. It will still show 19 records simply because I've not run the query again. I have not run it, the filtration criteria again. So if you see this, it's still showing 19 records. In order to update this, there is a refresh button here. If you click on this, it will do it sometime. It may not take too long because we don't have any other things running. But if you see this now, so basically this is one drawback about filtered data extensions. It does the work pretty well, but if your main data extension is changing due to whatever reasons, if you're using a filtered data extension to target people for a campaign, just remember, just refresh it once before launching your campaign, because it's quite possible, the data might be old. So just refresh it once and then attach it to your email. I'll be showing how to attach to email and all, but basically attach it to your email and then send it out. If you don't, then it's going to have old data, and anything new which is coming which matches the filtering criteria will get skipped. Right. So that is a filtered data extension. Now there's another type. So again, let's use this one. Now, if you see, this was import, which we've already done, this is filtered. Now there's something called split. Now split creates something called a random data extension. Now what is a random data extension? Why would you ever need to use a random data extension? Now, people in the data team over here know the concept of control and test. All right, so we normally have 10% control, 90% test, or it changes, but normally it's 90-10. You could do it using a random data extension. How do you do it? This is my source HD, which has now 100 subscribers because I added one manually. Click on add data extension. It will allow you to play around with the percentage. Right now it's showing a 10%. So 10% of 100 is 10 records. So this new data extension it will create having any 10 random records. It's not the first 10. It could be any 10 at random. I can change this. I can make it 25% if I want. Then it will be randomly putting 25 records in this new data extension. I can have more. I can create another data extension with 10%. And maybe one more. And then the remainder, whatever is left, it goes into a final data extension. So what I've done is 1, 2, 3, 4. I've created 4 data extensions. The first one will have 25% of the records, second one 10%, third one another 10%, and the remaining 55% will go into a fourth data extension. So in this way, I'm randomly splitting the source data extension into 4 data extensions of varying proportions. If I change anything here, it will dynamically change the rest. So this was 55, became 45. I'm going to make this 13%. So it will dynamically keep changing. And when I'm ready, I just do save and build. It will go ahead and create those additional data extensions. It may take some time, but basically it will create those additional data extensions. So that's a random data extension. Let's see if it's, yeah. So you see these 4 random data extensions. This is what we just created. Again, the structure, everything will remain the same. The only thing is the data will be as per the proportion. Whatever percentages we had selected, it will randomly allocate people in that proportion. Yeah, Mohit.
Mir, this cannot be refreshed. It will be a static list.
This will be a static list.
Okay. And Mir, sorry, one question on the filtering part. Can we edit the filters once it has been set?
That's a good question. Never tried it. Let's see. I don't think you can, but we can try.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. You can edit it.
Okay, great.
But that's a good find. I didn't think about this one. Yeah, Vishaka, you have a question?
Yes, Mir. What is the use of random data extension? Like we already have been noted the record count, right? So what is difference between the normal one and this random data extension?
Okay, so what there's this fundamental of, and I can think of this one right now. So there's this fundamental of control and test. Are you aware of control and test? Have you experienced that ever?
No.
Yes, Mir.
You have, right? Okay. So for those who don't know, I'll give you my version of control and test to hopefully answer the question. So if I'm a marketing manager, let's say I work for Pepsi, and Pepsi has launched this new type of Coke, vanilla Coke, right?
Okay.
So I've given it to my distributors. I've told them, you put it right up front, where the cashier sits and takes money, and you put 2, 3 bottles over there. So you can see it and say, oh wow, new bottle, let me buy. I've told my distributors to do that. I also want to do marketing of this product. So what I'll do is I'll run some marketing awareness campaigns. So I'll select all my people, all my customer base, and I want to send an email saying, hey, Pepsi has introduced this new vanilla flavored Coke. Sorry, introduce a new vanilla flavored Pepsi. Now, to figure out the efficacy of the campaign, when I say efficacy of the campaign, basically to figure out if I need to spend dollars in promoting this product, what I'll do is I'll do control and test. What do you mean by control and test? Let's say if I have 100 people who I'm going to target, I
Okay.
will say 10 people will not get the campaign. Only 90 of them will get. The remaining, the 10 people will be left out, and it will be randomly selected. Right? I will not pick up with gender, age, nothing. I will just randomly say 10 people will not receive the email. The remaining 90, they will receive this email campaign. I'll launch it, and then I will, once I'm measuring the campaign performance, if my conversions or if my awareness percentage, if there's a metric like that, if it is
Okay.
not really affected, right? If those 10 people who are left out, if they've still managed to purchase the Pepsi, if they've still managed to maybe go to a shop and see the new Pepsi bottle and buy it, they are already aware without me having to do any marketing specifically, then that basically means that I don't really need to market this product. It is selling on its own, either due to the distributors who are doing a good job, or maybe due to some other reason, or maybe just because these guys keep coming to my website and they saw, oh, there's a new Pepsi, let me go and buy. So that's where we do a control and test, just to ensure if this campaign is actually required or no. So in order to do that, you can actually use this random data extension. You take your main data extension, randomly split it 10% and 90%. The 10% you just leave aside, and the 90% you can add to your email and send out the email. So this is one use case where you can use a random data extension.
Yeah, understood. Thanks, Mir.
Yeah. Okay. Now, when you're in Email Studio and under subscribers, when you click on create, these options are different. Over there, it was different in Audience Builder. Over here, when you click on create, you will get these options: standard, filtered, random. What I showed you is using these shortcuts, but you can do it from here as well. So you can click on filtered, say, okay. The screens will be similar. So you have to select your data extension, the source. This is the source data extension. So the screens are going to be exactly similar after that. So I want this one. And then I can create. So there are two ways to do it. One is either use the create button, or you can locate your data extension and then use these shortcuts to go ahead and build it out. Now, all subscribers. Now, if you look at all subscribers, now this is a list of people who have been receiving emails, and it gets stored in, this is a master list. Right? This master list contains, like, for example, if I pick up this record, it'll give me a lot of information, right? So the subscriber key, some profile attributes. If it's a member of a list, I'll show you lists in a second. Any part of groups, what is the history of this subscriber, what email he received, what he did, opened, clicked, everything. All these are available over here. Under general, normally, if he has multiple email addresses, even that gets listed. I don't see it over here, or maybe it's under attributes, but it definitely gets listed here. So the subscriber key is important to send out emails. Now this is my master list. I can, click on this. I can delete it from the master list. I can also click and I can unsubscribe the person. As an administrator, I can do that. In case I receive a complaint, and sometimes people complain saying, oh, I've unsubscribed, but I'm still getting emails. Then you can actually locate the person here and just unsubscribe the person. If the person is unsubscribed, I can resubscribe him from here itself. So this master list, you'll be allowed to play around and make changes and do stuff. So as many people as you're targeting. So if PayPal targets 1 million customers, this master list, all subscribers will have 1 million records. As of now, nobody has bounced, I believe. Oh yeah, some 3% have bounced. Maybe bad email addresses, so they bounced. Along with subscribers, there's also lists. Now there's a basic difference between lists and data extensions. Lists also can be used to store customer information for targeting purposes. Data extensions also can be used to store targeting information. But people always use data extensions. They don't use lists because there's a big difference between lists and data extensions. And your difference is here. This is a sample list. Now, if you see, list, the main difference of list is that it has standard attributes. You cannot add new attributes, or you cannot add custom attributes. If this is all you need, then you can definitely use a list. But obviously in data extensions, you can customize your attributes. You can add more attributes, add attributes which are pertaining to the campaign and things like that. That's one of the basic reasons why people prefer to use data extensions rather than using lists. To be honest with you, I've not seen many organizations using lists. It's always been, data extensions. Any questions?
Mihir, since we have a list of all subscribers, is it possible to set up DEs using that data or list using that data, or does it always have to be an import?
You're saying set up data extensions using all subscribers?
Yeah.
So they are already a part of data extensions.
True.
Right? It may not be one data extension, it could be multiple data extensions, but these guys are already part of data extensions. So if you're trying to say, I want all of these guys in one data extension, if that is what you want, then I think the fastest way to do that is just export all of them and then import it into a data extension. I don't think there's any other better, faster way.
Okay. Or it could be through automation, right? Like, for example, if I want to send a welcome email to any new subscriber.
No, it's you can do it. You can do that, but welcome email to any new subscriber. So basically, you're trying to say, as and when a person is added to this list over here, you want to send a welcome email. You can do that, yeah.
And so this is basically all the users who are in some way getting uploaded to any DEs, right?
This is all those people who have been targeted. So even if I see now, I've loaded a few data extensions. Those guys will not be here unless you have targeted them for a email or something like that.
Okay.
Right. So subscribers gets updated or added or inserted only when the person gets targeted for an SMS, email, WhatsApp, whatever. If I'm just updating a data extension and not using the person, and I mean, I'm scripting and splitting, whatever, importing, exporting, that person will not get added to the subscribers list. So these are guys, basically, as the word says, that these are people who have subscribed to receive emails from this client. That's how it is.
Okay. Understood.
So here, the same subscriber can be in different data extensions as well, like.
Yeah. Definitely.
But then the subscriber ID, will it allow to duplicate, because the ID is going to be unique?
The subscriber key will be unique.
Okay.
Right. This key will be unique. It may be available across multiple data extensions, but this key will be unique.
Okay. So
now in this case, the subscriber key is an email address, but ideally organizations have a unique ID, which is the subscriber key. Any questions on data extensions? Anything which is not clear? Because we've done the data part, we're going to start touching the email part now. Okay, I'm going to take that as a no for now. So this is the data part, right? So what we've done is we've figured out how to make a data extension, how to define it. We've loaded the data extension. We've done some activities like filtering out stuff in the data extension, created random data extensions. So basically we've played around with data extensions. So in order to send out an email, you need two things: a data, which is now in data extension, and obviously you need the email, right? So let's start looking at emails. We'll do the basics of emails today, and then we'll do the more nitty-gritty, finer details starting from tomorrow. So how do you access emails? Everybody will say Email Studio, which is correct. So you click on Email Studio. I think I'm already in Email Studio. Yeah, you go to Overview. Now, if you see over here, this is Email Studio. The overview screen will tell you, now this automatically filters to the user. I'm the user, so it's filtering to me. It is showing me my recent activities, which I've done with regards to emails. So these are my recent activities. On the right, it is showing me what sends have happened, what sends I've done, past sends, pending sends. I don't have anything scheduled, so that's why it's nothing's pending. In the past, I've sent some emails out. As an admin, I can play around. I can see others also. I think I have given you guys rights as well. You can see, you can change the drop down and see other things, other people's recent items and things like that. But the question is where do I create a new email from? And I don't see any option anywhere here. The earlier instance of Marketing Cloud had a small box below, which allowed you to create a new data extension or create a new email or create a new list. But I don't know why. With the new release of Marketing Cloud, it's removed this box. Again, I have no idea why they did that. So then the question is, how do I create a new email? So you create a new email, you go to content. This is not content. It needs to be refreshed. Yeah, it's getting refreshed. So when you go to content, it effectively takes you to content builder. Content builder, if I go, it's going to show you the same screen. This is content tab under email and content. And if you notice, this is content builder itself. So please don't get confused. Now, just like you created folders in data extensions, I would request you guys to create folders here in content builder as well. So that the same thing, right? If you notice, this is the root. It's nice and clean. If you guys don't create folders, then you'll be creating your emails and templates and stuff directly over here, which is not a good practice. So just create your folders. I already have a folder here. This folder has some stuff. So I'm going to create one more folder. How do I create a folder here? Now in data extensions, there was a button here. You click on that and you can create a folder. Content builder, you right click and you create a folder. Don't know why. Unfortunately, they're not following a standard practice. Ideally, there should have been a button, but anyway, can't blame Salesforce. But you
it is on the right top, create. Is that the same?
No, that is to build your emails. I'll come there. Okay. I'm telling you guys to create a folder first. So basically what you guys will need to do is you come to content builder, click on content builder, right click, and you create a folder with your name. Like this. That's how you create your own folder and then you work in your folder. I'm going to create one folder. This is my folder. Now, click on create. You have some options over here. You can create an email message. You can create an email template. You can create content blocks. I'll come to content blocks separately. Or there's an option to upload. So let's first look at the difference between email and email template. Now, when you're looking at templates, by definition, a template is, you can say, a design, right? It's like your starting block. It's a ready-made design which is available. And then if you want to build an email, you can, select the template and build out the email faster rather than starting from scratch. It's always faster to start building emails using a template because the template is already defining the different sections of the email, like your header, footer, hero banner, 1 up, 2 up, 3 up, icons, social media icons. So, when you build a template, you already define all that so that when you want to use that template to build an email, it's much faster to build out the email. That's the concept of a template. So how do you build a template? Now, there are two ways. One is using HTML. So if you already have HTML code available, you can just copy paste and you can build out the template. If you don't have HTML code, there's an option is from existing templates. So if you click on that. Now Marketing Cloud by default gives you these templates. These are, you can say, frames, right? Or sections where you can keep stuff like images, text, buttons, stuff like that. You can have that here. It has other options on top. If you look at basic, these are some templates which Marketing Cloud will provide. So if your template is similar to some design over here, you can take that as a starting block. They also provide themed, so something with color. So again, if say your template is something like this, you can start off with this. So you can build your template even faster. Saved. Now, when you build your own template, it will be available under the saved section. That's what saved is for. Now, what you see over here are some templates which have been built by some previous trainees. So that's why they're available over here. So you can even use these templates to start off building your own template. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use empty and try and build something very small and simple. So you select what you want to use. I selected blank, so that's why this is completely blank. Right side is my canvas where my design will come into picture. Left side are the different options I can use. These are default contents, which are content blocks, which are available, which are provided by Salesforce Marketing Cloud. If you look at this, so let's say I want to quickly build something. So I want say a logo should be on the left, and the company name should come in the center. I want something like that. Now if I select this block, which is an image block, just drag and drop. So this will allow me to put an image over here. You can browse an image. Again, the images will be available in Content Builder itself. Or else if images are hosted by on a third-party DAM, then you can even select an image from there. And these are the different settings, right? So you can play around with the borders. You can play around with the width, padding, alignment. So you can play around with that. If you click on the image, if it needs to take the person to a particular website, you can add a link as well. But if you notice, this is not the design I mentioned, right? I said I want an image logo on the left and the company name on the right, right? This is not what I want. This is just one image. So what do? Let's delete this first. So click on this arrow. There's delete, duplicate, and edit. Edit will take you back over here. Duplicate will make a second version, and delete will delete the block. I have text. If I take this, I can type text. I want to make this bold. I can use the options available here to make things bold. Change the color to say green. I can do that. This is, sorry, the shading or the border shading color. This is the font color. I can do all that. It automatically creates or generates HTML. If I want, I can, if I'm good with HTML and I don't want to play around here, I can do it here as well. So do stuff like this. I can play around like this, right? So I can either do HTML if I'm confident, or if I'm not good at HTML, and that's the power of Marketing Cloud. You really don't need to be a guru in HTML. You can actually use these browsers, these advanced editors as well. I want to put a link to this, for example. There's an option to put a link. You can put a link here. Link text you can put. You can, if you want to change the color and stuff like that, based on whatever standards are there, you can do all that. And again, it will update HTML automatically. So this is how you can start building. This is my text field. I showed you image. Image I'll show you in a bit more detail shortly. Button, right? I can put a button here. Again, button has its own properties. Button text can be changed. Button is in the center. I want on the left. I can move it to the left. Padding can be played around with. If I want to change the padding, just click here. Right now, if this icon is like this, then whatever changes I do, it will update it across all the sites. Like if I increase this, if you notice, it is updating across all the sites. If I want to do it individually, I just click on this, and then I'll have to do it individually. This is how I can change padding individually. Sorry, did anybody have a question?
No, sir.
Okay, I think that is a no. You want to make the corners curvy.
Radius.
Yeah, somebody had a question? Go ahead. Okay, take that as a no. You can play around with borders in the same way. You want a button to take somebody to a web page. You can do that as well. That's how I can do a button. I can move these blocks. So push this up. I can do that. Positioning. But my original thing of logo and text is still not solved, right? It's still the same. How do I do that? So if you see, there's something called layouts. Now, obviously, those who are experienced in HTML, you can even use an HTML block. So click on this and drag it, put it up here. And then you can put your full HTML code over here. And the design I wanted, the logo on the left and the text on the right, you can obviously code it in HTML using TDTR and things like that. But let's say I don't know HTML. So what do? There are ways to do it. You go to layouts, and these are some standard layouts which Marketing Cloud will provide. As a part of an organization like PayPal, Grab, Uber, Marks and Spencers, these are all clients who use Salesforce Marketing Cloud. The standard layouts and designs will definitely be available, but you will also have custom client branded designs, layouts as well. Right? I don't have them here because we don't have that instance. This is our standard Salesforce Marketing Cloud instance. But in the instances where you will get access to in production, you will actually have all the design blocks which are available as per your client's branding. Right? So don't get confused. So when you get access, you'll actually see those, which you can do the same thing, drag, drop, whatever I'm going to show you, you can actually do all that. So now let's see the design which I wanted. So remember, I want a logo on the left, text on the right. There are many designs available. Correct. Good call out. So this is what I want to use. So I take this, put right on top here. Now I want an image here, text here. So what I can do is I can take this image, put it here. I can take this text, put it here. So this is what I actually wanted. But remember one thing, this is a template, right? This is not an email. You cannot send out a template to customers. You can only send out emails. So I will be saving this as a template pretty soon. But before that, I want to load some image as well. How do I load an image? So let's just pick up some random image.
So for image, we have to load a link or something. We have to just load a image also.
I'll show it to you. You can do both. Okay. So I'm just going to randomly select. Obviously, your client will give you the image, but I can do whatever I want. So I'm going to select this image, for example. with images downloaded, for example. Now image. So when you see over here, if you have the URL, you can type it over here, as in copy paste it directly over here, right? So for example, this image, if the client has given me the URL, I can just put it over here and it will be made visible over there. Obviously, this URL is gigantic. Great, messed it up. Okay, more or less. So that's one way of doing it. If you have a URL, just put it over there. Right now, it's going to be a little messed up because it's a huge URL. But yeah, that is, I mean, it's quite big. So that's one way of doing it. Second way is your client will give you the image or the assets. And first thing what you need to do, if that is the way, right, you'll have to load it to your here, content builder. So the client will say, okay, for this campaign, here are 20 images. You basically will take all those 20 images and you load it to content builder. I'll show you how to do that. So this is my content builder. Obviously, there will be a certain folder which will be informed to you guys where campaign assets need to be loaded. I'm going to load it here. So how do I do it? It's just drag and drop, or I can just select, see, this is drag and drop, or I can just upload it from my computer itself. I just click here and locate the image. This is the image, right? Now I want to say I want to put these three. So I can just do, I'll show you ways to do it, right? So this is, I've selected these two for now. So these are already here now. I can even do it from here. So I take this and I drag it in here. I can do it that way as well. So you load all the images, they will appear like this. Now, when it's come here, it doesn't mean it's loaded. This is just, what do you say? This is your queue. You can call it a queue. What you need to do once you're confirmed that these are the images I need to load, there's an option which here says upload and publish. So once you have all the images in place and you're ready, just click on upload and publish. Once it's uploaded and published successfully, there's a thing called sort. It's not necessary to sort all the time. But basically when you sort, what it does is if you have a lot of assets in the folder, these latest images which you have uploaded, they will appear right up. Otherwise, they will be somewhere down. You'll have to search. So if you want, and I would recommend doing that, the moment you finish uploading and publishing, just do sort uploaded content. And they will appear. My folder was empty, so you really can't make out the difference. But if you have a folder with a lot of assets, which may include emails, templates, images, icons, whatever, then these things can just appear anywhere. Yeah, Rajeshri, you have a question?
Hi, Mahir. So regarding the uploading images, do we have any limitation for the asset size or, any guidelines to like the below 200 KB, then only those images can be uploaded or such kind of things for this tool?
Okay, so I was going to give that as a homework to all of you. I'm not going to answer that question. Obviously, bigger the image, the slower your email or cloud page will load. So obviously it has to be smaller, but I wanted all of you to do a small research and tell me if Salesforce Marketing Cloud has any limitations on the size. So if you guys can find out, I'd like to know what is the size limitation for the image.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Mahir.
All right. So yeah, so I have
Mahir, just a question. There must be an issue of copywriting as well, right? Especially with the images. So of course the client will provide, but then
what do you mean by copywriting?
Like there are many owners who don't provide to publicly, publish their images. So
yeah, it's possible. So I'm assuming when the client provides you with the images, they will be approved, vetted, So, I mean, if there's a copyright issue, then it's between the client and that owner, right? Not us. We are just implementing whatever has been provided to us by the client. So if the client gives me 10 images, I will take 10 images, I will load it in Marketing Cloud in here, and then I will use it in my email, cloud page, wherever. Yeah, Mohit, I saw your hand.
Yeah. Mihir, when we upload using a link, it will still add it to the library, right?
So upload using a link doesn't happen. So I think it's a very good question. If you put a link here, it does not add to the library. It will access it from whichever URL you're providing.
Okay,
If
so that
you
can be a
want
damn
it,
link.
it can be a damn link, correct.
Okay.
Now, if you want to use it from here, you have two options. One is do browse and pick up that image. So I do browse and I go to the relevant folder. I want this, I click on this and I pick it up. Obviously, the client will give the right dimensions, but you do have an option to play around with dimensions. Scale to fit is there. Width and height, I can replace the width and the height will automatically change. If you don't want it, I can remove this and then it will be, oops, sorry. So now the height is remaining the same, width is changing. If I click on this, then it will proportionally make the changes. So all these options are available. And obviously, I can align it as well. I wanted it on the left, so I can do that. I can put a link also. So I can do all this by selecting the image directly from, by using this option. By using the option directly, by using the browse option. Also, I can use from any DAM. If I get the URL, I can use it. Now, even this is like a DAM, right? So this will also have its own URL. If you come here and copy published URL, if you do that, basically, if you put it here, so if you use this URL in some other marketing automation platform, it will have the same image. So it is also like a DAM. If I want, I can even use this URL. I can come here and put the URL here, and it will do the same thing. So multiple options, multiple choices. I can do all that. And yeah, I wanted some text over here, so I can say if I'm happy with this design. Oh no, this is not my full design. I also want this. Oops, sorry. So this is how I actually build a design. I want this, and then I want some text below it. Remember, I'm building a template, so I'm building a structure. And after that, I want, say, 3 buttons also. So this is how I can build a template really fast. Obviously, I've not done any personalization or anything, but this is a template build. Now, this button is of no use for me. I'm going to delete it. And then maybe, at the end, obviously, social media icons. So I will put this bar, Facebook, Twitter. I want to put in this also. I want to put LinkedIn. So in this way, I can create a template, which I would like all my campaign guys to use whenever they are building emails. So this is how you create a template. You can save it. You can give it a name. Let's say it's a newsletter template. It's getting stored in my folder. Now, if you look at your content builder, refresh it. On day one, I told you content builder is like your Windows Explorer, right? So it's going to store assets like images and all. It is going to store templates as well. When we make emails, it is going to store emails. When we make design blocks, it's going to store design blocks as well. So everything will be available in content builder. And this is how I make my template. Obviously, I've not put any color or anything like that, but yeah, you can definitely like play around. Now these are all layouts. So I can click on this. These are layout settings. So I can, put some colors, background colors, border colors. If I don't want to change around, and if you look at configuration, they are currently equidistant. If I want to change it, I can, do that as well. So you can do all this with layouts. Again, this is layout. If you want to make changes to stuff inside the layout, then you click again. Now it is this image block in that layout. Again, this has its own block settings, which you can play around with. There's nothing added right now, so HTML is not available. But when I get out of it, it again comes back to layout. And then again, when I get out of it, it will come out. This is the global settings, right? Background colors and stuff like that, that I want a background color. For example, I want whatever, but I want this color. So these are global settings, which ideally when you're working for a client, templates will be ready. You just have to pick up the template and start updating it for an email. So all this is normally done by maybe a designer who will be building content templates for newsletters, statement emails, general purpose emails, lifecycle campaign emails. So they will build these separate templates and keep, and you will just pick them up and start using them to build out emails. That's how it works. So you normally don't need to make these changes to the background color, template styling and all. You really don't need to do that. But I'm just showing you how it works normally. Any questions on templates? I'll try and give you some homework on building a template. It's quite easy. Tomorrow, what we'll do is we'll start using templates to build out emails. Right? We'll do emails. We'll connect the data file to the email. We'll do some A/B testing. So we'll do all that tomorrow. Any questions, guys? Okay, we'll take that as a no. All right, then. Sorry, I think I went 7 minutes over. I'll try to stick to the timings. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Mir.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Veer.